One of the biggest fears around self-publishing is that we won't be taken seriously, we won't look professional, we won't get picked up ever by a traditional publisher, and it might put a limit on our dreams. And so that's why I wanted to talk about Andy Weir's story today. Andy Weir is the author of the novel The Martian. The Martian went on to become a movie that won an Oscar, and he has such a great self-publishing story because the first version of this novel was actually published on his website in plain text. And it really was his craft, the way he worked on the novel, that allowed it to get picked up, snowball, and become an author's dream, become a movie, and become something really big. And so I want to get into the details today because it will give you really great strategic insight as well as inspiration to keep moving forward and working on your craft and believing in your dreams. So I'm Emily Tamayo Maher. I'm the author of this book right here, The Meaning Method, A Spiritual Path to Writing and Publishing. And recently, I started doing a series of YouTube videos on authors who have begun by self-publishing and then gone on to do big things. Actually, I have a great free resource below. These videos are free, and then there's another collection below, a free resource that shows you the biggest lessons I learned from self-publishing and snowballing the sales of my book. It has a video on how to keep writing, how to get your book done. It has a video on how to find a professional cover, etc. And then a video on how to get started selling your book. And that's free right below. So subscribe to the channel and sign up because I have a ton of free stuff and I love to support you. So getting back to Andy Weir's story, I want to start at the beginning because it really illustrates how important craft is to writing. So Andy Weir first started writing and publishing on his own website. He was a computer programmer, so he started publishing stories and fantasy comics, science fiction comics on his own website in the 1990s. And he did it because he loved it. He made a lot of friends who were doing the same sort of thing. And because he was dedicated to his process and just kept publishing on that website, he started to build an audience and his stories started to spread. So in 2011, he published the first version of his novel, The Martian, on his website in plain text. And there was a small audiobook startup that decided to pick up the book. So the first step after just writing and loving it and being consistent and practicing it, he got picked up by a small startup that was searching for great books in order to move their own book business forward. So Podium picked up his book and they had a few more resources than he did on his own, but the combined resources started to snowball the book even more. It was only an audiobook at that time, but that started to get enough of a readership that it caught the eye of Random House. And this is when things really started to change for Andy Weir. So Random House wanted to publish the paper book and the ebook. And so they picked it up. And Andy Weir, I love this. He was really surprised. He said, I didn't know it would have any mainstream appeal. I thought it was a book by a dork for dorks. And therein lies the key. I think this is so important because so many of us that get lost in the world of our books, that get so excited about the details and the world and, or the self-help and the personal development, etc. We dork out on this stuff. And we think, well, I'm a dork. I love this. Maybe there's another dork who's going to love this. And that is called niching, my friends. When you really love something and you really get into something, you understand the people who like that. And then that book serves them at a profound level where not many other things will. And so for Andy Weir, his book, By a Dork for Dorks, was really just a science fiction book with more science in it. When he looked at the market, he saw that science fiction was heavier on the fantasy and lighter on the science. And so he wanted a science fiction book that was more scientifically correct and then And then the fantasy was really just the idea that this guy was trying to survive on Mars. That was the fantasy edge of it. And so it got picked up by Random House. And as they say, the rest was history. He got a movie contract, and then it went on to win multiple Oscars, The Martian. And now he has another book out, Hail Mary, that's been on the bestseller list for months. And so really, I wanted to share this story to help you. If you have any nervousness, any fear around self-publishing, really, as you can see, and I'm going to talk about more authors who have done this. As an author, it's about learning your craft. It's about loving your craft. And more than anything, small, consistent steps, putting one foot in front of the other and allowing that to snowball. So that's why I'm going to keep on talking about these authors' stories. Subscribe to the channel. And then also, if you want a resource that is less of another person's story and more about your personal author story, how you can get started, sign up. And I'm going to send you 3 videos on getting started, finishing your book, publishing your book, and marketing your book, right down in the link below. And I put out classes like these every single Friday so that you take time on the weekend to go for your author dream. So I will see you next Friday. So much love. Talk soon.